One of the hottest deals in the headlines today is Microsoft and its potential acquisition of TikTok. This will come down to numbers, but there's an evaluation of strategy, and that's what we're going to talk about today on Strategy Simplified. One thing that has happened for sure during quarantine period for COVID is the blow up of TikTok. And if you've been working on your dance moves and getting some memes going on TikTok, then you certainly know how engaging the platform can be. Today, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not talking about how great TikTok is, how or if it's a national security threat or anything else related to TikTok. What I'm talking about is what an acquirer thinks about when they're thinking about buying a company. Hi, I'm Jenny Ray LaRue, the Managing Director of Management Consulted, and I have significant experience in private equity due diligence, thinking about how one company would want to buy another company. With this today, I'm going to give you the lens that if I was advising an acquirer, would think through in order to evaluate whether an acquisition was a good one or not. So today we're going to do the Microsoft TikTok potential acquisition. Here we go. Number one, the first thing that we look at is the market. What is the market for TikTok? Is it the number of users? Is it we have to think through, what is the market for TikTok? So because of the way that TikTok monetizes right now, short 15-second video ads, it's important to think about the delivery of video ads, the platforms that they're on, and the potential market for video ad delivery. In short, it's a massive market and one that Microsoft does not have a very strong presence in right now. So that's the first thing that they would look at, and they'll want to size that opportunity, evaluate the growth rates of the market, and evaluate competitors. Who are some of the big competitors in that market? Yikes, there's some really big ones that have major market share and a really broad reach. Number two, the thing that they would look at is the company itself. How well positioned is TikTok in that space, in the video ad delivery space? How is their user management? How's their acquisition of ad providers? How is their entire security system? So Microsoft is going to do a thorough due diligence on both the financials and on the product and user experience of TikTok to understand how it works, how durable it is, where some challenges or opportunities might be in the business model. The third thing that Microsoft will look at is the post-acquisition strategy. The post-acquisition strategy is how they're going to monetize further with TikTok. There are really two main channels that you look at when you're a strategic acquirer. The first one is revenue boosts, and the second one is cost reduction. And the goal of any acquirer like Microsoft is not to flip a company like TikTok. They want integration for the long term. So what they're going to look at is this going to be a big revenue boost for Microsoft using TikTok's software and offering Microsoft products or services through the TikTok user base, or vice versa. So utilizing the TikTok user base and the monetization of the video ads and moving that over to the massive Microsoft platform and Microsoft reach. The other thing that they'll look at is cost reduction. How much is TikTok currently spending to build out its network? How can we utilize the resources at Microsoft, planning, accounting, and tech in order to support that? If you have to think about the two of those, in most acquirer situations, you'd want to identify which one is the bigger opportunity. Usually for very mature businesses, it will be cost savings. And for less mature businesses, which we could argue very clearly that TikTok is, it will probably be revenue enhancement. And then finally, the fourth thing that we'd want to look at are risks. Are there regulatory risks with purchasing a company like TikTok? Are there IP risks? Have they borrowed or built their IP? Have they protected their IP adequately? And if they have or haven't, does that add value or reduce value for the business? What's the management team like? Do you want to keep them? Would you like to integrate them into your culture? Would you think about replacing them? All of those will adjust at the end a sense of both the yes, no, and the valuation of the business. So just to recap, there are four main things that an acquirer like Microsoft thinks about when they're looking at an acquisition of TikTok. Number one, what's the market look like for what TikTok provides? The way that they currently monetize are through video ads. Number two, how does the company currently operate? In general, companies like Microsoft look for winners. They're looking for the Skypes and the LinkedIns of the world, not companies that they want to completely revamp. Number 3, post-acquisition strategy. What are they going to do with it afterwards? How do they enhance their revenues and, if possible, reduce the cost to create synergies in the business for the long run? And then finally, what risks or benefits would change or modify the yes, no, or the valuation of the business? This strategy framework works for every strategic acquirer, and it's really fun to apply just like this. If you get a case interview that's focused on M&A, this is the exact framework that you'd want to use. But in general, it's just helpful to apply it to a real world problem. It'll be fun to see what happens with a Microsoft TikTok potential acquisition. One of my favorite things to do is to break apart companies and look at the simple strategy behind what they do. Microsoft buying TikTok is not a complete Pandora's box. There's a way that companies think about these things in a very systematic process. If you want to get more familiar with that systematic process, please join us here by subscribing to the channel. Or if you want to get more information, we have tons of great free content and premium services on our website at managementconsultant.com. Thanks for joining, and we look forward to having you on a future episode.